Rey has been using hand-me-downs since the first moment she touched a lightsaber in The Force Awakens, but with the ending of The Rise of Skywalker, she finally has one of her own. Here's what Rey's new lightsaber really means. In The Force Awakens, Rey first wielded Luke Skywalker's old lightsaber, which originally belonged to Anakin Skywalker. With Emperor Palpatine finally defeated, Rey returns to where fans' journey with Star Wars began 42 years ago, the Lars family moisture farm on the planet Tatooine, where Luke grew up. Rey buries both Luke's famous lightsaber and the one Leia used when she was training to become a Jedi in the desert near the farm. Before pulling out a new lightsaber, she is finally forged for herself. Fortunately for fans, it's not the double-bladed red lightsaber seen in the trailers for The Rise of Skywalker. The lightsaber that Rey ends up with is a yellow lightsaber, which is quite rare in the Star Wars universe. The yellow lightsaber has most often been seen in the galaxy far, far away in the hands of the Temple Guards on the animated series Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Of course, Rey is certainly not joining the Temple Guard, considering the Jedi Temple would be fairly empty given the lack of Jedi, but there's plenty of other symbolism attached to the yellow lightsaber as well. Star Wars lore dictates that yellow lightsabers are carried by the Sentinels, one of the major schools of thought within the old Jedi Order that tries to find balance between the Consulars, which typically bear green blades, and the Guardians, who normally wield blue lightsabers. With the Sith apparently destroyed by the end of The Rise of Skywalker, Rey has finally brought balance to the Force. Not only that, but she also appears to be the only Jedi left, and will have to carry the beliefs of them all into the future. There's also the symbolic decision for Rey to deviate from what has come before her. Rey has had quite the journey. She was a poor scavenger girl abandoned on Jakku by her parents who spent most of her life waiting for them to come back to her, then discovered that she's Force sensitive, began training as a Jedi under Luke Skywalker, joined the Resistance and fought against the First Order, found out she's a Palpatine, and ultimately decided to take the surname Skywalker as her own. She had plenty of options from which to choose in claiming her own lightsaber. She could have been blue or green like Luke and Leia, or red like her cackling electric grandpa. But in choosing to go a different way with her lightsaber, Rey chooses her own identity, separate from her bloodline and her past. That is, scavenging as the only way to survive in a desert wasteland. She knows firsthand how important knowledge outside the Force can be to survival. That's just what the Sentinels believe. All things considered, it makes perfect sense that she would choose to follow the school of thought embodied by the Sentinels in forging her own lightsaber. Additionally, it was important for Rey to put Luke and Leia's lightsabers to rest and forge one of her own. It's a critical part of the process to becoming a Jedi Master, and until she did so, would have rendered her journey incomplete. Star Wars lore also dictates that the kyber crystals used to create the light in a lightsaber are white, and only take on a color once they have bonded with a Jedi and their path becomes clear. The message here is an obvious one. Rey, the last of the Jedi Order, will embody all that the Jedi are. From the Consulars to the Guardians to learning real-life skills, Rey carries the entire future of the Jedi Order within her, and she must balance those teachings. There's another small detail to Rey's new lightsaber many may have missed. The handle of her saber is made from the staff she has been carrying around for years, since long before she ever left Jakku in the first place. It's yet another piece of symbolism, showing Rey finally leaving her old life behind her, this time for good. Even in The Rise of Skywalker, we saw that Rey's education as a Jedi hadn't given her the confidence to rely on her strength in the Force just yet. On the training ground, she was unable to fight off the combat remote with the lightsaber, but she disposed of it quickly using a stick like her staff. She has always been comfortable with the weapon in her hand, so it makes perfect sense for her to bring that relic forward with her into her new life, without hanging on to any sentimentality of her past. It's understood that the new Star Wars films won't be telling the tale of the Skywalkers, of which Rey is now one by choice thanks to her final words in The Rise of Skywalker. Considering The Rise of Skywalker marked the end of the Skywalker saga, it's not likely Rey will be returning in any more movies. This ties in with one of the reasons the Sentinels don't appear in the 9 films already in existence. Those who practiced the beliefs of the Sentinels believed in concealing themselves and becoming inconspicuous, and avoided pulling out their lightsabers unless absolutely necessary. With the galaxy seemingly safe at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, Rey shouldn't need to whip out her new weapon that often, and may even be able to fade into the background just like the Sentinels. But who knows? Maybe she'll teach a whole new order of Jedi in the future, and we'll meet her students in a future Star Wars movie. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite Star Wars films are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.